Hi, I'm Derek Sang. I'm the director for episode one and two.
I'm Alex Wu. I'm one of the co-creators and co-showrunners of Three Body Problem.
I'm David Benioff. I'm one of the creators and showrunners of Three Body Problem.
I'm DB Weiss. I also do that.
I think for people who watch the show, the first scene, the opening of the show, is very faithful to the opening of at least the English translation of the books. And the last scene of the season, for people who make it that far, is very faithful to the last scene of the book. And in between, we took a lot of liberties. So I like generous is a good way of putting it. I think that what Shishan Liu created was mind blowing for all three of us. It changed the way we looked at science fiction, and honestly, just when I'm walking under the stars at night, it changes the way I think of the universe. So, what we're trying to impart to the audience is the same sense we got from Shishan Liu's novels. Alex said this in an interview the other day, and I thought it was really smart. It's not so much being strictly faithful to the words in the book and each and every scene. It's about trying to be faithful to the spirit.
We always knew that there were lots of scientific concepts at play in the books that might be difficult for non-scientists such as ourselves to understand and to really grasp without pushing pause, which is the last thing we want people to be doing when they're watching the show. So we spent a lot of time with science advisors, with Babak Farausi and Matthew Kenzie, who are our two science advisors on the show, rocket scientists and particle physicists, respectively. We spent a lot of time with them paring down these ideas to their core concept and the core explanation. And both of these guys are not just excellent at their jobs as scientists, they're really good at explaining science to people who aren't scientists. And that was really what was key. We worked with them to kind of get it down to its essentials and make it actually exciting and make it something that pulls you into the story and drives you through the story, not something that you have to wade through like homework to get to the parts you like. We wanted to make sure that the concepts that were so central to these mind-blowing set pieces in the book were part and parcel of those mind-blowing set pieces and as exciting to take on as the set pieces themselves, not homework you had to get through to get to the good stuff.
Well, I think the key for us is really to communicate. I think we had a lot of time to really get to know each other creatively as well. And I spent a long time with the pre-production with David, Dan, and Alex and David. And yeah, we just really just in terms of how we want to faithfully recreate what these guys have written. I thought it was amazing what they've done already with the adaptation. So for my job, I think it was just to really faithfully recreate what they wrote in the script.
All three of us came from other mediums before television, and maybe that's the reason why, at the heart of everything we've written, regardless of what genre it is, uh, everything is rooted deeply in character, and that. To us at least, in a television series is what propels you from one episode to the other, to the next season, to the next season. Before you know it, it's been a decade that you feel like you've known these people who've come to life, and they visit your living room every week, and you feel a loss for them if when the show goes away or if a character dies. The suspension of disbelief is very powerful, and the in the books the characters often don't intersect at all. They don't know each other, even though they exist contemporaneously. They don't cross paths. So one of the strategies from the very beginning was to put all the pieces on the chessboard from the start, and that meant having characters who have a shared past, who like each other or have conflict with each other or in love with each other, whatever it is. You get to know them from the very beginning, so that you're engaged with them and go on the journey with them through hopefully multiple seasons. And that was the genesis of creating this group of people, this Oxford Five. And I think we found a connect because of their mutual connection to one specific individual. I think is not quite as outlandish as it might initially seem, that they all play a role in this gigantic epic that they're about to embark on.
When we first met, the three of us first met in February of 2020, and talked about the book and how we like, let's join forces. That was our meet cute. Wasn't that cute? But it was a meet.
Meet
And
old.
meet old. And we said, let's do this thing. Let's go. Let's try to adapt this incredibly hard to adapt book. And then the pandemic hit, and we weren't able to meet again in person for close to 2 years. I mean, at least 18 months, I think. And we had endless Zooms where we talked about how this adaptation was going to go. In the books, there is I'd say a fairly optimistic sense of like how humanity could come together in the event of this kind of crisis. While we were talking about the story, we were seeing how humanity was not coming together at all in the face of maybe a less catastrophic crisis, because obviously COVID didn't wipe out humanity, but still it was a painful time, and we didn't work together very well at all. So I think it made us slightly more skeptical about how people react to things like this, and that people just don't even interpret facts in the same way. So aliens announce their presence. Not everyone's going to believe that. Some people are going to think it's a conspiracy created by the U.S. government or by some billionaire out there, whatever it is. So, there's, on one hand, there's like the hopeful side where it's smart people are working really hard and did that and created vaccines and saved a lot of lives that way. And then there are a lot of other people who are, anti-science. And all of this, I think, informed the first season.
I don't think it's so much that we're setting out to find the hardest thing to adapt, because that would be pretty masochistic, even for people who might be a little masochistic.
That would be Finnegan's Wake.
Yeah, that's next. Finnegan's Wake, the animated series. But I think that you read something, and every once in a while you read something that just hits you in a way that nothing else in recent memory has hit you. It obsesses you, and it haunts you, and you walk around thinking about it. And as David said earlier, it kind of changes the way you look at the world you're walking through. And often it's also something that's not like anything else that you've read. It's not like anything else that you've seen that's out there on TV. There are a lot of things on TV. In case you hadn't noticed, there are a lot of things on TV at the moment. Sometimes it feels like when you go to the grocery store to like buy some toothpaste, and there are 800 brands of toothpaste, and you walk out without any toothpaste. So we really wanted to do something that would, if it worked, really stand out as unique in that very vast playing field of current television. And so I think those two things are probably related. And the reason you don't see something like this out there, anything that feels unique, anything that stands out as different, there's generally a reason why people haven't done it. There are usually some kinds of difficulties associated with it that otherwise there would be many of them out there. Otherwise there would be many things like this out there. So I think it's not so much about seeking out something that's difficult for the sake of something that's difficult to adapt. It's about just the kinds of thing that we're drawn to, the kinds of things that excite us the most tend to, at least now, tend to be challenging to get made and get made well.
I mean, we've gone, I think, more than just conversations into a second season, and have some pretty strong ideas of how that would map out. Beyond that, things get a little hazier, the further out they are on the horizon. But hopefully we'll have the chance to have multiple seasons of the show, so we can get to the end and get to that last page that we all love so much.
I think, and I'm going to paraphrase somewhat and steal somewhat Alex's summary of the show, but this is a show that takes a group of people from this moment of contact with an alien civilization all the way to the end of the universe we live in. You're not going to see that anywhere else. And I think along the way, there are a lot of other things that you're not going to see anywhere else. A lot of other scenes, a lot of other just moments that will, we hope, really, really stick with people. So if you're looking for something that's exciting and something that's different and something that boldly goes where no show has gone before, I think that you could do a lot worse than Three Body Problem.